Welcome everybody to the Bat Cave. Actually, a BIGGUNNER81 live, presented by Applied Arsenal Finishes Gunworks, the range of 35, Eggleston Munitions, and Spinta Precision. So welcome everybody. And of course, we're looking at right now a live shot of Vulture Equipment Works Bat Cave, I guess. We're calling it that anyway. Yeah. We've got Will with us in the house. He stepped out for a second. Basically, tonight we're just going to run on a regular open format, and we got a couple of people in the house with us. Of course, we'll be back in a moment. We got Pete from the range at 355 with us. Welcome, Pete. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, fellas.
And we've got John from Trace Armory Group out here in North Carolina. Welcome, John. Thanks for having us. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you.
And, of course, Corey from Southern Style Beards.
Hey, guys.
Welcome, buddy. So,
Corey.
Yes, repping for Grunt Style too as well.
Always.
Appreciate that.
Always.
And here's Will. Hey, Will, we're back live. We're just commenting on your Bat Cave, by the way, in the background.
Oh, thank you.
So thanks for joining us as well. Tonight we're going to kind of start off talking with John a little bit about Trace Armory Group and kind of find out what it is and so forth. Because honestly, I just know a little bit about it and like to hear from him. So let's kind of share this with everybody. So, John, tell us a little bit about your company and what you do and everything.
Yeah, well, yes. Well, so we have been a firearms training company since 2010. We've primarily focused on doing precision rifle. We also do a lot of carbine, like a lot of level 2 and level 3 classes. We do a lot of force on force with shooting pistols, and that's what our bread and butter has been for quite a long time. We have a great facility. We have a 550-yard range. We have a couple pistol pits that we can do shotguns in, or we can do pistol or any of the close carbine work. And that's pretty much what we have focused on.
Cool.
As actually my background, I was in the Army for right at 10 years, and I've been in nuclear security work now as a security officer for probably 7 years now. So, you know.
So what gave you the idea to kind of get into the training business?
Well, when I was in the Army, my last job right after deployment was being one of the trainers for 40 Squad Designated Marksman program, and I was one of the first NCOs to actually join that group back in 2005. And so as soon as I got out of the Army, I actually still wanted to teach. I really loved teaching, so I did a little bit of contract work on doing that. And then as I settled, I went and started this company. Very
cool. So let's see. If you guys have any questions too as well for him, feel free to jump in at any time if you have any thoughts. Will, Pete, Corey.
Hey, John, you work for one of the plants, or do you work for DOD?
I work for one of the plants. I work for Duke Energy. So.
Oh, cool.
Duke's pretty big company, isn't it?
Absolutely.
That's just feeding the lights here.
It's actually the largest nuclear, provider that is in the country now. So.
And by the way, I meant DOE, not DOD. I'm sorry.
Right.
So, So, John, tell us a little bit about what are some of your favorite firearms in your collection?
To be honest, I've gotten to the point now that as far as rifles go, as far as ARs go, I just build them now. I've gotten to the point that I only like a certain style, so that is what I go with. As far as pistols, I run a Sphinx. As far as the shotguns, I have an 870, and my long range gun is a Remington 700 that I put a barrel on about two years ago. So.
Oh, cool. So tell us a little about your AR that you use now. Like what kind of components do you put into it? So you have kind of specific setup.
Yeah, so learned over the years, since I'm 6'5", I have a pretty long wingspan, so I like to run an 18-inch that has a 15-inch handguard. That's typically what I base the guns on. And then if I'm running an SBR, I run a 12-inch, and then I'm using a mid-gas system so I can have a longer rail on it. I first came out with the mid-gas on an SBR when I was working at War Sport back in 2014, I believe was the first year that we came out with that. So I've had those ever since. So
What is War Sport exactly?
That used to be.
I don't know much about it.
Well, they're defunct now. We were a company that was building the LBOA and other rifles that were being sold from 2010 until mid 2015, and then I jumped on board with them in early 2014 and left November of 2015. So I believe they're still in the process of selling the company, but as far as actual people there's no one there except for the old compliance guy who used to work with me. So
cool. So we had a couple comments out in the YouTube live chat that's out there.
Okay.
For those that don't know, like, you know, that may be watching this on a webpage somewhere else and not actually when it's live or whatever. During the live episode, you can actually chime in, ask questions, leave comments. If we can answer them, we will try. And if it's something we can share, we'd definitely like to do that because, you know, this is an interactive, you know, program. We like to be able to share ideas, share thoughts, and help people learn more about, you know, shooting and firearms and all types of aspects of the Second Amendment and whatnot. So I had a question or a comment actually from Sean. He mentioned that the 870 and the 700 can't go wrong with them. And he says, I love my 1966 870 and my 7mm mag 700.
Absolutely.
Pretty cool. Nice, Sean. Again, thanks for joining us, Sean, too, and hanging out and watching and commenting. We also normally stream on gunchannels.com as well tonight. I forgot to set the link up ahead of time, unfortunately, but that's another place that you guys could go check out, gunchannels.com. It's kind of like the Facebook for gun owners. They have a 24/7 live chat that runs. If you want to, you know, talk and BS and just kill some time, you can talk with other people that are into guns. They often run a Google Hangout like this where you can chime in and actually talk to people and so forth. And also you can share, I think, pictures and videos and all types of stuff like that. It's basically another social media type platform just for gun owners. And it's, you know, owned by, you know, people who support, you know, gun ownership and whatnot. So you might as well check it out. So
what's that called again? Gun chats or
gunchannels.com. So it's kind of like, you know, a TV channel, but it's gun channels. I think they also have gun websites as well, but I haven't really looked at that recently to see what all is on there. And I know they have, I think, gear websites, which is where they sell like patches and things like that too as well, which helps support the websites and all that kind of stuff and the things that they do. I think right now one of the projects that they're working on is something like they call it like the gun show loophole tour or something like that. I don't know if they stopped in to visit you, Pete, or not. I think they were planning on doing that at some point recently.
Yeah, I was gone for a little while here, but I don't believe they have.
Okay. Yeah, so he's basically doing a tour in his van with his dog and checking out different gun stores across the U.S. and doing videos
cool.
on it. Yeah, so he's just kind of taking some time to do that. I thought it was kind of a cool project. I think his YouTube channel is Gun Channels on YouTube as well, if I remember right. Anyway, so we'll talk a little more, John, you know, coming up here as well. And I know that, Will, you also had some new product.
Yeah, we got a couple new things. So we launched that Liquid Freakiness a little while back, and that's been going really well. Had some good reviews with it. It's been picked up by a couple of different manufacturers as well. So they're using it as their OEM stuff. And
nice. Can you say who or no?
Not right now. We're still in the middle of figuring out whether or not it's going to have my logo on there. Or
okay, or is it
part
private
logo? Their part logo. That, you know, it's
that'll be cool though. Hopefully it'll have your logo on it. People get to see it.
Yeah, there's one other thing too. It went into a government gun as well, so that's sitting there. It went out for testing last week, and we'll see. We'll see what comes
Oh,
back.
another item that you can't talk about yet.
No, the liquid freakiness that was actually spec'd by the Army. They requested
nice
open requisition for product to do this, and I said, well, it's all right. I fit that bill and jumped in there, and we'll see what Picatinny comes back with when they do their testing. So I'm like,
cool.
But so we've launched the solid funkiness.
that just sounds like kind of like bizarre in a sense. Like,
I was talking to a guy today, and
like, don't eat this.
Yeah, right. He was grilling me like a cheap steak on the liquid freakiness, and I said, "Well, you know, when you play with your freakiness and you mix it in with your funkiness," and he's just, I could hear him in the background. He's 70-something years old, and he's sharp as a tack and a wealth of knowledge. This guy, retired Ranger and so on and so forth, and he just started busting out laughing. And to hear this 70-something-year-old just lose his mind over something so stupid, he's like, "Oh, give me one of each. I can't take it anymore. I've got to go play with it." So this is it's the same thing. It's a grease, but it's a fully synthetic. It's a little off color, right? So it's a little beige just because it's got a lot of tackifier in it. So it's super, super sticky. It works up to 600 degrees, and it won't solidify until down to like -35. The other cool part about it is that it's suppressor and machine gun friendly. So, I mean, you goop this stuff in there, it does not leave. It doesn't fling off. It doesn't overheat. It doesn't, boil off or melt or ooze. It's some really sticky stuff. So the cool part. Go ahead.
So what are some key areas that you'd use that on your firearms? Like for your AR-15 or pistols, where would you want to use that?
AR-15s, you're going to use that on your bolt carrier. All right.
Like on the lugs?
I'm sorry?
On the lugs, locking lugs or no?
Yep. You can throw it right on the locking lugs. You can throw it inside the receiver as well, right? I'd keep it off maybe the charging handle because that'll run a little bit slower because you're putting a lot of, like sticky goo.
I gotcha.
So I wouldn't put it up in there. But the cool part about it is it's cross-compatible with liquid freakiness. So if you take a little bit of your solid funkiness out, put it on a piece of plastic or something, put a couple drops of freakiness on there and stir it up, you've got a way to make your own consistency of grease. So a lot of times products won't blend together. So when we develop liquid freakiness, we develop solid funkiness right at the same time. And so that the two are cross-compatible. They don't separate, they don't pull, and they don't repel each other. And it's basically the same product, just in a little different form. So that really works well on the Glocks. We threw it in some polymer guns, FNX45 that I run quite a bit. Man, it just tightened it up like crazy. We've thrown it in 10mm Glocks all the way down to 9mm, and it just, guys will put it in there, just a little bit of dab on the 4 rails, and then just take a toothbrush or a Q-tip and then run the inside of the rail on the slide, and it feels like a freaking STI. I mean, dare I say that, right? But I mean, it's really slick and takes up a lot of the slack. Makes it feel really good. Plus, it's water repellent and all the other stuff. But is
it non-toxic too?
Yeah, non-toxic, fully synthetic.
So you can eat it if you want to.
You could, yeah. You're gonna have a bad night on the toilet, I think, but ultimately, it's not gonna boil out your kidneys or something. So we've got that running, and then I taught my laser a new trick. Laser stippling.
Laser.
What's with all the spots though into it?
The spots?
Yeah, I see like the lines, but what's with the little spots like the?
That's tree bark.
Oh.
So this is our bark.
Gotcha. That's like on purpose to do that kind of a pattern. I got you.
Right. So what I did was I came by and basically back in the day, Rolex had a type of whatchamacallit in the bands. You pay more money, and the inside links, the internal links on a Rolex, you could get as bark, and it looked like tree bark. So they would take the gold and make that. So I sat down and I started making the file, and that's kind of what we came up with. So it's got all these different ins and outs and these little itty bitty holes. It's just recesses. It really looks cool. There's a couple spots. This is the prototype.
Yeah, definitely different.
See right there, the laser went right through the Glock. But I had already taken this. This is one of my old frames, and I had thin this thing down to like nothing. So it won't do that on a regular one because I've taken all of this material down to like almost, zero. So I mean, it's like,
So
really,
you did
really
some
light.
practicing with it basically and thinned it out to the point
Yeah.
where it was going to burn through possibly. And
Well,
it did.
yeah, I thinned it out to the point where the gun would barely hold together for having fun.
Gotcha.
So when it was time to start doing all the settings, I wanted to make sure that, we weren't going to burn through, the entire brand new Glock. So I went into my, stuff. I took one of these and did it that way. It took me a solid full day, like 12 hours to get the settings down right and then finish the file so it was good. But that's it, man. It's done. So it wraps all the way around.
I'm really definitely thinking about having you do something with it. Maybe not necessarily the tree bark pattern, but this is not really my thing, but something different.
Well, we've got something right up your alley. It's a whole bunch of Iron Eagles.
Okay, I have to see that.
Yeah,
but
we can do almost anything. So the next one I've got is Alligator. So it looks like a cross between alligator hide and burlap, which is kind of cool. And let's see what else I've got. I've got some dots, some fading dots, which look really professional. We're trying to stay away from the goofy snake skin and all the other weird stippling jobs, and trying to keep it a little bit more on the professional, OEM look.
So I had a question out on YouTube. It was, what's the website for the grease to buy it?
VultureEquipmentWorks.com. Go under accessories, and you'll see it there.
Which brings up a good question too. I know, John, we didn't mention where people can find your company as well.
Yeah, so we have a website, is replacingluck.net. You can go there, or you can go to tracearmory.com.
Okay. Is it both the same website, or is it same?
Correct.
Different? Yeah. Okay. That's a cool, clever.
That's a real good.
Yeah, I like it.
Appreciate it.
That's
It's something that was told to us a very long time ago. That's what training does. It just replaces luck. So that was our mantra.
Makes sense.
Absolutely.
Have no mistake, though. There is that nice added piece of luck when the bad guys shoot.
Absolutely.
Nice. So you also mentioned too, by the way, Will, you're doing some custom stuff with slides.
Yeah. No, we've got a whole new thing. Pete, I've been busier than a cat in a sandbox without Mama looking. Basically, what we did is we came by and we've met with a couple slide builders and tweaked a couple things, and we came up with a slide that they produced for us. And we're going to be doing polymer 80s, but finishing them.
Oh, cool.
So everything is, basically, when I talk to the guys at Polymer 80, when I talk to Dave, he's like, oh, if you're going to offer that complete, that's awesome. We'll stick you right up on the front page of the website and stuff like that, because people want the Polymer 80 frame.
Yes,
right?
Because of the shape of it.
Exactly. So the shape is nice. The grip is nice. It's a lot thinner. It lends itself to stippling a lot more, and so on and so forth. But they don't trust themselves to finish it. And he goes, you know what? Most people don't want to screw around with finishing the frame, and they don't care about having a ghost gun. They're like, I just don't care. I'll run through a gun dealer. I don't care. I want a legitimate gun that I can go and sell. So yep. We're a manufacturer. And
how are you putting the serial number on that?
Serial number on it.
Are you laser engraving it?
Yep. Yeah, we're going to laser engrave right on the bottom. There's a plate. There's a serial number plate.
Okay.
So we'll put our serial number on there, and then we can transfer it to any FFL in the country, and you can buy it, transfer it, sell it, do whatever you want with it. So you get away from that loophole of having to own it for the rest of your life.
Now, Polymer 80, do they make? I know they have the Glock 19. Do they also have the 17 as well?
Yeah, they got a 17 and 19. They're you don't see it on their website, but you have to go through one of the dealers, and it comes in black, gray, FDE. There's I think pink and white are on their way, but that's really kind of neat, because the white, you can build. A lot of guys are building white guns, wintertime looking.
Or doing the white and black type stormtrooper type look.
You got it. Right.
That's been very popular lately.
Yep. TK421. Yep. So you've got the 17 and 19, and both of those also come with a heavy grip, like a textured grip on it, or they come plain, like completely slick.
Oh wow!
So you can stipple till your heart's silly. We're on order right now with some of the first, the blank ones that come through, so we can stick them underneath the laser and do them up Ryan Lace. But for the most part, we'll offer the Polymer 80s finished, with, like 4 or 5 different patterns of stippling on it right away. And then a custom gun. So we've got 2 guns, a 17 and a 19, that are coming out. And one's going to be called the Vulture, Pro Comp, and then the Pro Comp Carry. And they all have RMR cuts and things like that on them. So really kind of slick titanium nitride barrels. We're using the Lantec barrels.
Oh, okay.
They're really, really cool. It's one of the higher end barrels. So you're not going to get this gun and be like, oh, I wish it had one of these. Basically, you're going to go to the range or wherever you're at. You're going to pull this thing out, and everyone's going to start wetting their panties.
And if I understand, too, the Polymer 80s only come in the Gen 3. They don't do a Gen 4 because of some type of licensing or trademark or something, patents.
I think the patent is still there, too. They haven't released it yet. But
what was the patent on exactly? Do you know?
I have no idea. The little tweak that Gustav did from 3 to 4 was like itty bitty. I don't know if he's going to start building a 5 yet. I don't know if they're going to allow that, but the 3 is a really stable platform, and at the aftermarket, aftermarket guys are just they've all gravitated to a Gen 3. Gen 4 stuff is starting to build a little bit, but most everybody's like, there's nothing wrong with a Gen 3. I'm going to cut the finger grooves off of it and do this, do that, and they're fine.
Right. I've kind of ran into that too, because I was kind of looking at, I mentioned off air that I'm working on I'm putting together, well, I kind of have one together kind of now, but I'm going to be tweaking it. A Glock, can't speak.
A Jock? What?
Jock Gen 4.
A Jock?
No, a Glock Gen 4 19. So yeah, I started looking at trigger options. I'm like, wow, it's a lot more limited for the Gen 4 than in the Gen 3. I was kind of surprised, but then I kind of started thinking, no, yeah, the Gen 3 seems to be where it's at with all the aftermarket stuff. I kind of knew that.
I think there was the longest period of time between where Gen 3 was on the market without having a Gen 4. And no one thought that the Gen 4 was that big of a change, so they all stuck with Gen 3. Now that you've got Gen 5, I think there's going to be that disparity again. We're going to see the market jump from Gen 3 right to Gen 5 as far as aftermarket.
When the Gen 4s came out, a year and a half ago or so, there's, a lot of people just like Rick that said exactly that. The aftermarket parts that aren't out yet. I think the Gen 5 changing the barrel and the little bit of a mag funnel on the grip and some of the other stuff, ambi slide stop, I think some of those things are kind of compelling for people. The straight front strap again, that kind of aggressive checkering on the grips.
Yeah.
So you're thinking that they're going to skip right over the Gen 4 and start making stuff for the Gen 5 aftermarket wise?
I don't know. I mean, I think there's people out there that look at a business opportunity any chance they get,
True.
But it's been a year and a half. So if they haven't gone crazy yet, I don't know. Maybe it's just the development time. I don't know. But
it takes,
you still get that
even
Gen 3 crowd.
If I were to blast something into production, it still takes me a year, and that's me working at it every single day. So it takes quite a bit. So I can imagine a team of maybe 4 or 5 trying to get a new product in. It's going to take them 6 months. By the time they're done with T&E and everything like that.
Our industry is not like the cell phone industry. The iPhone 8 or the iPhone X comes out, and there's cases and covers and widgets and you name it for it.
Yeah. it's pretty easy to build a cell phone case when Apple gives you the CAD drawing for the phone.
Yeah, it's like getting a contract with Costco. You know, when Costco speaks, people listen. Sorry, Corey.
So, Will, are you going to put something on your website that shows the different stippling designs?
Oh, yeah.
Or are you going to tell about it? Or
yeah, once I get the other designs finished up here this month, and get the settings finished for those, because each one is, you know, as the computer comes by and tries to fill the area, fill the graphic, it's going to dwell in certain points a little longer. So you really have to work with the settings and pull everything back. So just like the knives that I built for Pete, each one, you know, once you change steels, it reacts a little differently. When you change plastic, it's going to change a little different. The patterns are going to be different because, you know, the laser actually sits there and goes back and forth, and it might dwell in one spot a little bit too long. So we have to back the power off, and there's like a myriad of settings that you got to tweak with. So once I get those done, and the 4 or 5 patterns are up probably by the end of next month, so hopefully by the end of October or November, they'll be done. The whole idea is that these 2 guns, the 19 and 17, are finished, so that when we go to SHOT Show, everyone is like, what? You kidding me, right? So that's the whole idea. So to your point, yes, Corey, there'll be a spot just for the stippling. It'll show the manual stippling patterns that we do, as well as the laser stippling, and have a really nice picture of front straps and back straps and things like that.
Nice.
cool.
So I was going to mention, too, I said this past few shows I brought this up, but if anyone has any thoughts on how to finish out this slide, I'm looking for suggestions. Because I know one thing I want to have on this particular one is the channel logo, you know, the BIGGUNNER81 on it, on the flat surface here, probably opposite of the ejection port, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I'm looking for ideas. I kind of thought about different styles of slide serrations and, of course, porting and things like that. But I kind of want to hear what you guys all think.
Here's the slide that we're producing with another guy.
Oh, wow. That is cool.
Oh, dude, this will make your Parmigiano into dust.
Does it have a top shot to it?
Yeah, there's a top hole. So there's a top hole, and then there's a let's see if I can get this back up. So there's a top hole just north of this guy here, up on the top, and then of course you got the horizontal feed here, and then you've got this wraparound part of ribbing. So that actually wraps around the whole entire frame, and those will be cool. Tuesday, I think.
That's different.
That is neat. I have seen that V style cut in the front before.
Yeah, a couple guys were doing it. This particular guy did it first.
I'm not sure I'm a fan of it, honestly, though.
Took it from Salient, took the idea from Salient and went freaking aggressive with it. And then the guy from Loki came out and copied it and put his twist on it from Loki Tactics.
See, my thought, and I don't know what the front of it would look like, but my thought would be having that V cut in here, how does that work with as far as supporting, the front end of the edge of this slide at the top? I know it's pretty thick and strong, but what kind of vibrations and over time, what kind of issues might you see from that? I don't know.
None. There's so much material up there, dude. It's disgusting. Like you could literally take out probably over 50% of that slide, even on the 45 side, and still have a wickedly strong barrel because there's really no shock at the end. And if you cut everything into a triangle, what you're creating is as long as you don't come down to a sharp edge, right? What you've got is a circle down here, and that circle is the strongest part in physics. So there's a little bit of testing that goes on inside of SolidWorks. You've got to put it through physical testing and physical attributes and stress and heat. But the computer modeling and that stuff is pretty sophisticated. It does it pretty quick too. I mean, it's like.
So when you get your blank slides before they have the machine done, they're basically just like this, right?
Yes, exactly. They're a featureless blank. They've got the dovetail and the thing cut in them. You got it. Same thing.
That's pretty cool. I'm actually probably going to build this out pretty soon here, just to assemble it and then run it. Make sure all the critical dimensions, I guess, are proper and everything's going to run properly with it before getting into the machining with it.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out what sights I want to run on this. This is not going to be like a carry gun necessarily. I mean, I could carry it, but I'm basically building it more for like sport use and maybe for competition, that sort of thing. It doesn't have an RMR cutout on this one. That could be something I might have done to it, but probably not on this one. I have another slide that I'm probably going to be working with for that, I think, in the future. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm thinking about the sights, and I've been debating what to get for that. I want something that's, basically going to be used for competition in a sense. It doesn't have to be, duty type sights or night sights or anything like that. I have a set of the XS big dot XS sights.
Those get too big. Those get too big for competition.
No, I know. I'm sorry, I didn't differentiate that, but yeah, you're absolutely right. That is more like point and click type of shooting right there.
Anything past 7 meters on that thing is just going to be, you're going to be drowning out a third of the target instantaneously.
And you know what? I just put them on the other slide that I have that's finished out slide, and I was looking at it the other night. Initially I put them on, they were still glowing. The rear sight, the little tiny itty bitty little vertical section of it, is not seem to be lighting up at all. And I think there's supposed to be tritium in there also, just a very, very, very small one. Huh. So I don't know, kind of sucks. But
I've seen everybody using the Ameriglows on the Glocks. For some reason, it's a nice comp. It's that twist, right? So you're not a high sight and you're not a low sight. You're right there in the middle. So you're not using a high, tall suppressor sight. But I think they're a little bit taller than normal. And they've got a lot of real estate on that fiber optic. It's really big. So, I mean, it picks up a ton of light. And
now, does the Ameriglo have an option? I can't remember. I was looking at some the other day. Do they have a version that has the rear sight without the fiber optics, just a black rear sight, no dots?
I'm not sure. I'd have to go.
I think they do. I think they have a plain black where you can get the front fiber optic. But also something else to think about, though, is depending upon how the serrations are actually done, you may want a taller rear so you're able to rack it on your pants or on a holster if in case it's a single hand stage, or if it's a single hand manipulation stage, to be able to rack it and charge it, because a lot of those sites don't have a good front ramp on it.
Didn't think about that too.
Something to think about.
Speaking of serrations, I noticed one of the comments on YouTube, Sean mentioned, he goes, you should get the serrations, the scallop serrations like the MMP. And honestly, that's something that I kind of like. I do agree with it. Like, Laura's got the MMP Pro, and I like the serrations on that. I like kind of the curvature of that slide and everything. And
hey, Pete, do you remember those snake scales that Dan Wesson did a long time ago?
Absolutely.
I like them.
1911.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was a long time ago, but that's kind of thinking where they came from.
Yeah,
you could go with something like that, and also round off the nose of the slide that's similar to what the M&P has, so it's a little bit easier on reholstering, and then just put that one extra directional cuts on it, and then those higher sights, and I think you'll have a great gun.
Yeah, I've actually had a couple of different ideas that I was thinking about.
You can chamfer those two leading edges like he was talking about.
Right.
Instead of rounding it, you could actually just chamfer them and just absolutely just grab a hold of them and just whack it the hell off.
Which will look beautiful.
Spit it out. Yep.
So chamfering the front corners up here,
absolutely.
Yeah, and put a really aggressive chamfer on it, and then you're going to have to put secondary chamfers on each one of the leading edges. The leading and the trailing edges on both of those chamfers too. So you can't just whack it, because they'll still be sharp. So
exactly. If you do like a 145 cut, then each corner is gonna be sharp on it too.
Right. So then you have to put
radius. I was thinking radius cut. A couple different radius cuts.
Yeah. So if you look at it this way, give me 1 second here. So here's your barrel. Right. Here's your sight. Like that. Okay, so you come by and you put your cut here,
absolutely,
like this, and then what you have to come and you have to put a secondary chamfer here and a secondary chamfer here.
So it's like a 3-angle cut.
Yes, exactly. That's going to get you a nice modern look, and you're going to keep that edge from being too sharp, because you literally jam that into a piece of Kydex and you'll shave the inside of it.
Exactly. I agree with you on that.
And you'll have more problems than what you tried to alleviate by doing the chamfer.
Just like, putting this into the kayak holster, I can tell it's a little rougher insert because the corners aren't rounded, basically.
What I'd do is I'd leave that way, and I would cross drill it and put spikes all over the front of it and make it a zombie gun.
Nice.
And
that way when you grab it like this, you just
dude, hey, Will, we love you, man, and none of us are surprised.
Exactly.
Have you ever seen the Persuader that's sitting in the office?
No.
The baseball bat with a 10-inch circular saw blade cut.
Oh, man.
Bolted into it. The UPS guy came, and I'm like, oh, yeah, just bring the box back here. And he dropped the box, and I'm like, dude, really? Dropping the box? So I picked up the baseball bat, and it had the big circular saw blade on it. He turned white as a ghost. It's like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, dude, I'm just screwing with you, man. Get out of here.
It's like Uncle Buck with the hatchet.
Yeah, right?
Oh, man. So I was kind of thinking about that, the front of it, chamfering it and so forth and all that kind of stuff. I was also thinking, porting on the top, I don't want just a regular square cut, opening like a lot of them are. I was kind of thinking doing something with like more of an angular, row of, ports on the top, sort of.
Dude, how cool would it be if you could do a big gunner cutout?
Well, yeah, but, I want it to be balanced. I do want to have the etching on it to have that on the side, like an engraving with it. My thought was do the slide in Cerakote black and do the logo in the white and the red, just to color fill it. But I was thinking like a couple different options. The corners on the these top edges, I guess. I was thinking about something where you can do just like maybe like a 45-degree pattern all the way down each side of it, kind of like a crisscross type deal, something like that. Which I don't know. I'm just like trying to come up with dream up some ideas, basically. Something that's different, but would be kind of cool looking and just functional at the same time. Maybe something that would blend in with like, whatever type of, angle ports that I have that are rounded off instead of having like square cut corners, like kind of rounded off, ends. Drawing it out again would probably make more sense than me trying to verbally describe it. But I like the idea of the scales, where you kind of have, instead of being just like, straight angle cut serrations like 1980s Nintendo, or whatever, basically like something that's kind of curved, or maybe even if you're going to do something more like angle cuts, something that's more like a 7 type shape or something, down the side or whatever. The cool thing about it is just like, I'll tell you a little story from my history, my family. My cousin, when he was a little kid, he told his dad he had a block of wood, and he goes, "Hey, Dad, there's a race car in here." He's like, "What do you mean? It's a block of wood." He's like, "No, there's a race car inside it. We got to get it out." So it's like taking something that's in its raw form, and this course has all the basic machining done to it. But for all intents and purposes, it's a blank canvas. You can bring out whatever style you want out of this thing. And I thought that was kind of a cool concept to do that. So I might even just like give some ideas to somebody who is a machinist that's, that's their craft and their art, and let them have their way with it. You never know. So I found that sometimes in many cases to be the best example. I've got my bench behind me. I know you probably can't see it, but it's you can kind of see part of it. My American flag rifle's back there. Probably seen it on Facebook and all that kind of stuff. That was one example. Or my competition rifle, my F1 firearms competition rifle that I put together, that's Cerakoted in blue. I gave that to Brandon at Applied Arsenal Finishes, and just said, "Hey, this is what I'm looking to do with it. Here's my thoughts on it. But you're the artist. Do whatever you think. And it comes out awesome. When you give someone that kind of freedom to do what they do best, and not be like, oh, it's got to be like just like this and that and everything. Kind of give some rough guidelines of what you're looking to do, and then just let them do it.
Exactly. Let the creative people be the creative people.
Exactly. And you may come out with something that maybe you don't like a whole lot. It might grow on you down the road. Who knows? But if you don't go that route, you never know. And usually that's when I find I get the best results. So I'm just reading this comment here, and I apologize for the pause, but Sean was saying the tech with the CNC and 3D printing is going to make it nuts. So I don't know who he's talking about exactly. probably find out in a minute or two after this, because they'll probably post a response or something.
We were talking about creativity in the gun industry on the chat there, Rick. And that's what we were saying, is that the innovations that are coming out in the gun industry are pretty incredible.
Oh,
and that's what he was saying.
In general,
the technology with CNC and 3D printing, you know, you can make pretty much everything now.
So you guys saw the new Daniel Defense Wave, right? Suppressor.
I'm not. Maybe I might have. I don't remember now.
You got to see it. It's all one piece. So there's no machining. It's all 3D printed metal. It's Inconel.
Oh, wow.
And last year, GE went out and purchased all of the companies that had technology built and machinery built for 3D metal printing. And it's actually really cool stuff because it's heat treatable. So we've left the days of plastic reels of monofilament. It's gone.
Right.
All right. So you want to make headers for a turbo injector for a satellite? Yeah, no problem. We'll just hit the go button and out it comes. There's no fixturing. There's no nothing. Now it's got a huge tulip cost because you've got to design this thing perfectly. But they make impellers inside of things that are all woven inside of each other that there's no way to machine that. There's absolutely no way to machine it and assemble it.
Right. It's just like when you do 3D printing with the plastic, and you can have a crescent wrench that physically works and moves, and it's already assembled. You couldn't put it together. It's already made as one thing. It's made as one thing. Well, this is where we're at now, and it's Daniel Defense came up and said, that's okay. It's no worries. We're building a 300,000 square foot facility to figure out what we're going to do next. And they came out with the Wave, and I played with it, and it's hot shit. They're actually one of the OEM guys that are testing the oil right now. So, oh wow!
Once they figured out that it works with the freakiness plays well with the internals on a suppressor to keep down carbon fouling, they were like, "What? Really?" I said, "Yeah, try it."
That's cool.
They're working with it.
Delta P Designs with the Brevis. They also have a 3D printer suppressor they released this past SHOT Show. It's a beautiful piece. They're extremely small. I'm looking online right now. It's been a while since I've looked at them. But just the specs on the 5.56 can is 3.7 inches long, 11.5 ounces. The diameter is 2 inches.
What's their
5.56 can?
What's their suppression rating? On
I'm sorry.
What's their suppression rating on supersonic?
Give me 1 second, and let me see if I can give you that answer.
You should have a DV rating there.
Right. I'm looking for it right now. Hold on 1 second. I don't know if they have it listed. I know that I had one on my previous gun that was not one of these. It's one of the older ones that was very good. They said it's rated for select fire. It doesn't have a DV rating on it. I can find right this second. But they are one of the guys that are coming out with that. It's probably somewhere on the website, but I wasn't prepared to pull it up, so I have that information right in front of me.
It should be right around 130. No one's been able to break that 130 barrier on supersonic yet.
Yeah, it's very, very hard to do. I've messed with a lot of cans, and you can only just do so much with that limited amount of time. Whenever that gas is trapped.
Somebody will crack the code.
Yeah.
Come on, we put a monkey in space.
Very, very true.
And the monkey came home.
Oh, I'm still muted. I'm sorry. I was talking. I'm like, oh, why is no one responding?
I'll ignore you.
We don't want to talk to you anymore, Rick.
No, that's all right. You guys talk amongst yourselves. I'll hang out here. So, Pete, you were down at AccuSport too, right?
Yes.
So tell us how that went, because we didn't talk about that.
Interesting this year. It wasn't really a buyer-seller conference. It was a manufacturer selling their product to you. The manufacturers were doing presentations basically to sell their product, which kind of made it interesting. And that was the philosophy. We were just chatting here with Sean on YouTube there, and what's interesting is now I think our industry realizes that the scare has gone, for the most part, out of the market. Not completely, you know, certainly not here in Illinois, but it's become a buyer's market. And the manufacturers realize that it's not 2012, 2013. It's not the Pulse nightclub. It's not San Bernardino. You know, people took a breath after the election and now can make an educated decision and not have to worry about somebody stockpiling 22 or getting a black rifle. You know, last fall, we didn't know if we were going to be able to get black rifles depending on the way the election swung. So the manufacturers know that they've got to work really hard to get our business because there's a lot of good products out there. And kind of the cool thing that AccuSport did, they set up a 5,000 square foot store so that we as store owners could see how to innovate and how to do a better job selling. And that was kind of the concept. It was kind of cool to see, you know, the new M&P 2.0 compact and Patriot Ordnance Factory and some of the creative people, H&K and FN. You know, they really, really want our business. It's a different world now in our industry.
So what was one of the most interesting things you saw there particularly? What stood out to you the most that you liked?
I would say POF's coming out with a 308 on an AR-15 platform. So technically not an AR-10. And you know, Frank is came from the aerospace industry as an engineer. So boy, when he starts talking engineering and stuff like that, I probably look like a deer in the headlights. But they had some really good videos of this 308 AR-15 with minimal recoil. I thought that was probably the coolest innovation that I saw. And I have to tell you, I'm a big fan of POF. I think they make the features that they put on their rifles are
feature rich.
They're feature rich. I mean, they really are. It's a great platform. So, you know, seeing the guys, not necessarily at the show, but seeing Tactical Edge and you know, everybody like that, Civilian Force Arms, Rock River, a lot of people doing pistol caliber carbines now.
Oh yeah.
You know, and back in my SWAT days, that's what we carried. We carried, you know, everybody was carrying either MP5s or we carried the Colt. It was an M16A2 at the time. So I've got a warm spot in my heart for the pistol caliber carbines, but I think you're going to see a lot more popularity with that, a lot more people making it.
Oh yeah, I agree. The PCC is kind of in growing popularity. In fact, I mean, I had just built one recently myself, and I'm building a second one. I think the second one's probably going to be built into an AR-9 pistol, I guess you can kind of call it. Just kind of want to do something like, you know, I have a couple AR pistols, one that's a 300 blackout, one that is a regular, you know, 5.56. But I'm looking at, you know, building something kind of small and compact. And what's nice about the 9mm platform is obviously since it's a handgun, you know, or pistol caliber, you know, round, you know, short barrel is not a big deal to run with that. You know, you get into a, you know, 7-inch barreled 5.56, you start having gas issues, like over gas issues, you know, and things like that. And with that, you can run, you know, if you want to run a 4-inch barrel, you can run a 4-inch barrel with the 9mm. It's not going to be a problem. You can make it super short and so forth. One of the challenges I was looking at too is what are the options to reduce the stock size, you know, and things like that. It's not, I said stock, I'm talking about pistol, but I mean buffer tube size. So, you know, like I know on some of the regular 5.56 platforms, there are some different companies that are making like shorter buffer systems where the tube is like, you know, like half the length or whatever it is, you know, and using multiple sets of springs and things like that in there. I'm not sure what options there are for the 9mm. So I want to kind of look into that and see what's available. And
you know what,
I was going to say, of course, there's also the Law Tactical folder, you know, adapter, so you can fold that buffer tube over.
Yeah, you know, back in the day, I had some of my friends gave me a pneumatic buffer in my M16A2, and it was 9mm, and it was funny. because the pneumatic buffer felt like you were shooting a squib out of it. You know, the first
really?
couple of times I fired it, I was like, man, do I have squibs going? But, you know, the nice thing about the technology, too, is that back in the day, Colt was putting a block into the mag well because it was really an M16. It was a 5.56 lower.
They still make those blocks.
Yeah, so they were putting the blocks in there. Now, to see the really nice quality of the manufacturing on a true pistol caliber carbine, it's kind of impressive. You know, those last fall we gave away, or spring, man, I can't even get my date straight. We gave away 2 of the Rock River pistol caliber carbines, and I think they're a great manufacturer as well. Super high quality. And
they were using the Colt style mags, right? The stick mag.
Still using that Colt style stick mag, yep.
Yeah. And you mentioned those inserts too. There's I know a company named Torque Mag. They were working on a setup that you can use. It was like a plastic insert, I guess, or I believe anyway. I think it's plastic. Their version that's for sale. I know they're doing a prototype that was plastic for sure, but you can use Glock mags with it. So it was an insert for regular AR-15 receiver, and I believe there was adjustments in there to kind of like tighten it up inside the mag well and so forth, so that there wasn't like that slop or anything like that between the insert and the mag well that you have. The only downside is you had to take they had a tool that you slide your Glock mag into, and it would have a little notch in it. You basically had to take a knife and kind of cut the plastic on one side of the Glock mag for the mag catch because it was not on the proper side and so forth, I guess.
Well, and Kel-Tec with either the Glock sub 2K or the M&P sub 2K, almost kind of a little ahead of their time with that, where now not that it was a PCC necessarily, but
well, it is. I mean,
it kind of is, but I mean, not in the AR platform format, But interestingly enough, watching the popularity of those, and the sub 2Ks are still really hard to get for us.
Right. They are kind of neat. I've actually thought about getting one because I believe they use Glock mags as well, don't they? Or is there some of them that use something else too?
You could either get it with an M&P mag, you can get it with a Glock mag. And interestingly enough, they're not that expensive.
Right. Aren't they like under $600? I think they're like, I thought they were like closer to 4 maybe, or 3,
I think they're in the 4s, I believe, like high 4s, I think. Of
course, pricing always changes. 10 years down the road, someone might watch this and be like, wow, I remember when you could buy those for a nickel, the kind of thing. but it's I thought it was kind of neat things the way that folds over that Kel-Tec, but I never had a chance to shoot one yet. I have seen a couple people talking about them, and at least remember one person mentioned they ran it in a competition just for the hell of it because they had one. So it's like, maybe it's not a bad thing to try out. Who knows?
And that is one of the huge advantages to what the PCC offers. That now wherever a local match that has like IDPA, well, they could run a carbine stage with a PCC and not have to change out the targetry because it's the exact same steel, it's the same paper, and that could bring more folks to come in and shoot at a USP PSA match or shoot at a IDPA match and run a carbine instead of being just a pistol. But it doesn't damage the actual stage props or any of the targetry.
Yeah, that's a good point. And John, especially for a place like us where we have 2 range bays that are basically 35 feet wide, it adds the creativity and exactly like you say, it minimizes the downtime or the admin time. Changes.
Absolutely. One of the biggest downsides to like the rimfire ARs is that the malfunction drills aren't the same to get rid of that. Get rid of the actual casing, but on a 9mm, your malfunction drills are actually the exact same. So even when there is a issue, it's still the same training as working a 5.56 or a 300 blackout gun.
Hey, so John, do you have a PCC in your collection?
I used to. I used to have one of the older Colts that actually took the Uzi mags. I'm looking at getting one here soon, so I can run at the local IADPA matches here, because I mean that's great. CQC training when as you run in a card meet, and it's just a ton of fun.
That's awesome. Where did they run that at? Like, where did you go to do PCC shooting out here?
Well, here in North Carolina, you have H2O Farms, which is out in Dunn. We have the range that's up in Oxford, and we also have USPSA at Sir Walter, and also USPSA out at Carolina Guns and Gear, which is in Asheboro.
Yep, I've seen that place. We passed by it. I think when I went out to the Woody's Hunt Club, I think.
Absolutely right. They're off Highway 64. It's a beautiful facility.
Yeah, it looks nice. I like to stop in there one day too, because they have a full gun shop too, I believe.
Yes, they have a FFL, and they have their SOT, and they rent guns there. They have a 400-yard rifle range, I believe 9 or 10 pistol bays. And then downtown, they have a normal FFL store that doesn't have a range.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. So they're 2 different locations. That's pretty cool.
Yes, sir.
And I was looking at their club and everything, so I'm looking for options of where to join and so forth. And the only downside I saw is that they're not open on Sundays. Like, you can't go shoot on Sundays because the neighbors complained or something.
Yeah, there was a big to-do there, and the main reason why is because they're running like 3-gun and USPSA and other matches on Saturday. It was part of the negotiations with all of the neighbors just to not shoot on Sunday.
Wow.
I wish I could get my neighbor to stop mowing his grass on Sunday.
I know, right?
Pricks home all day, every day, and he chooses to do it Sunday while I'm sitting on my patio. I'm so happy that the law makes it makes it aggravated if I went and yelled at him because he's a senior. I love that.
Oh man.
Hey John, we did our last match that we did in the spring. We got 2 PCCs from Rock River. And so for a side match, we had top 5 male, top 5 female shooters shoot off for one of these carbines. So
that's great.
What we did was after allowing optics and everything for the matches, we did the side match with irons on one of the pistol caliber carbines. And it was really interesting to see people slowing down because so used to using, some kind of an optic on their ARs. It was a good time.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is a great idea.
Plus, it's good practice too. I mean, just in general, because I started out doing shooting competitions. I'm getting kind of rusty with the rifle, honestly, because I haven't been shooting much as far as competitions go and everything, and haven't been outdoors shooting. But when I started out doing practical rifle at Aurora Sportsman's Club, all I really had was my Colt initially, my LE 6920, iron sights, carry handle, all that. And it slows you down, but it's also good practice to kind of get an idea of, how to shoot just using your irons, using the basics.
Well, and when you're using irons off a carry handle, point of aim, point of impact is, that disparity from the bore axis. You got to be on your game on that too.
2.5 inches there.
And I'd tell you what, especially doing long range shooting, because what they normally would do with their stages, they'd have 2, shorter bays, and then they have one on the 200-yard range. And when you start shooting at 200 yards of iron sights, it's kind of like, hey, this is kind of cool, And I was actually able to hit stuff, and then I built a second rifle shortly after with an R Guns receiver set, and that's kind of what morphed from that rifle. Some of those parts are actually still on my competition rifle, for example. I kind of morphed it along the way, kind of changed some different pieces and whatnot. But I started using the red dot, and I'm like, man, I can start hitting stuff at 200 to 300 yards with the red dot. I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool, And I like shooting rifles a lot. I like shooting pistols. I like shooting most any platform, really. But my whole thing started with the rifle, And now having the PCC, it's kind of like a blending of both worlds in a sense, and it's just something different and keeps that interest going. And it's always kind of cool to see new stuff and things that kind of progress and whatnot.
One of my most favorite taskings is whenever I have a student come and they have a detachable the detachable carrying handle or a M16A2 is to show them how the BDC knob works and to show them how they can run them all the way out to 600 yards. And it's just a standard M4. It's a 16-inch gun. It's a Stag. It's a Colt. It's a Rock River. It's a LMT. I mean, it's not, you know, a $5,000 gun. It's just a standard $800 gun. And with the sights that come on it, you can reach out to 500 yards without any issues. It's just really cool to watch folks burn.
Well,
that's the way everybody should start.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very true. So you get the basics down and understand how it operates and works. One of our for the Rural Sources Club, the vice president, at least most recently that I remember, he would teach a long range rifle class, like a real basic long range class, just on the basics. And I took that class with him, and what he shoots for 600 yards is a 20-inch barreled A2 style rifle. Of course, it's more of a match grade barrel, and the handguard that normally would be a fixed handguard is actually a floated handguard, by design.
It is a CMP style, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's a CMP style, exactly. So, still using regular traditional carry handle and iron sights on it, and hits stuff out to 600 yards all day long. That's his thing. And I'm like, man, that's awesome. That's just like the whole precision of that. You're shooting such a small caliber at that distance and that accurate. It's awesome.
I mean, it doesn't have much terminal effect at that point, but you can still hit steel out there and make it ring.
Exactly. I get you. I get that. It's of course.
Fun.
But it's still awesome to see that you can do that.
People have never seen it been done before, and you sit down and you've got some iron sights and you throw it out there and you make it ring.
I was happy to hit, the first couple of times at 600, hitting it with a 308. Actually, it was a modified, 700. And just it's like that 1-2 ding, off in the distance, and just getting to see that. That's awesome. Took me a few tries to get it down, and then after that, I was able to ring it, several times at that distance. I'm like, okay, I did it. I'm good. It wasn't my rifle, but
I have a long range class that's coming up on November 18th. We ought to get some folks to actually come on out. So.
That'd be awesome.
Absolutely.
So I don't have I haven't finished it yet. I have an AR-10 that I'm building, but all my other stuff.
You should bring a 5.56.
Yeah, I bring my competition rifle. I got a 1-6 on it. That's about it.
There you go.
Play with that, but yeah, we'll have to talk later on about that. That'd be kind of cool. Check it out.
By November, you North Carolina guys, it'll probably be down to the 80s, huh?
Absolutely.
Yeah, but it's gonna be very humid anyway.
There is a lot of truth there. Whenever I teach any long range classes, I do it from like November to March. Because laying in the prone at like 98 is not fun, especially if you're not there all day.
You see all the heat waves coming up.
Yeah, and just students suffering. So it's just not. It's just not even worth it.
Yeah, I agree. Shooting in the heat sucks outdoors. That was one of the things, even in Illinois, shooting outdoors at ASC. It's like people would always talk about, let's go when it cools off in October or so, November or whatever it was. But it's a little different out here. It's pretty hot in the summertime. So, and then ironic part of it is some of the clubs, it seems like maybe some of the matches kind of get put on hold until, a few months after the beginning of the year. And I don't know if that's everywhere, but just kind of the few places I've kind of seen, it seems like that's kind of thing they put on hold because the holidays and everything else. And I'm like, man, I'd rather go out in the cold and shoot. But it is what it is. So anyway, I don't know if you guys got any parting thoughts. It's a little bit after 10 here, and we'll actually after 10 Central Time.
It was a fun show. Thanks for having us, Rick.
Yeah, thanks Pete. So, Will, you got anything you want to mention real quick?
Yeah,
John?
in case you actually come out to replacing luck, I have my training calendar. We're going out to November 18th here, and then starting in December, I will roll out the calendar for 2018. So just give us a look.
Yeah, definitely. We'll stop by. And what is the website again?
It's replacingluck.net.
Okay.
or tracearmory.com.
Awesome. Got it. And Corey, who looks like a picture there and just like sitting still.
Corey's been really quiet this episode.
He's been very quiet. He's just sitting back listening the whole time.
I'm just listening, trying to focus on keeping my back at a certain spot due to my kidney stone. So
man, see, I just thought you were a cardboard cutout for a minute there.
No, it's all good. Last Friday me and my partner had a meeting with a new label guy, and he's going to design and crank out a new, fresh, crisp logo that pops and attracts attention and stuff from people.
Oh, cool.
And we're gonna hopefully get going here shortly. The first label guy, he just no communication. I sent a couple things to him, never heard back from him. So we just kind of like lost interest. So
I've been through that with like web designers and with people who do logos before. Yeah, it sucks because it holds up your whole business.
Yeah,
it does. Yeah. It's like it hijacks it.
It amazes me. Is business that good or is fishing that good? I don't know.
Right.
I mean, it's the first guy, he was a broker for a lot of different places, and he really didn't do any of the actual labels himself or any kind of stuff like that. He actually did brokerage for the places that did the printing, and so he did like a lot of different people's stuff. So I can understand the busyness, but then again, if you're just blowing people off and not communicating, I mean, that's just it's just bad on both ends.
Yeah, call back and say I'm busy.
Yeah, and just a lot of things. Hopefully I hear something back. If not by the end of this week, in the next week, and we're looking at a lot more things as well. So everybody's like, "Ooh, what are you doing?" I'm just like, "Is it apparel? Is it more freedom? I mean, geez, I don't know." So,
well, good luck with the kidney stones and everything too.
Sucks. I hope that's not what it is, but I'm about 100% that's what it is.
Wow, that sucks.
Yeah.
Well, hoping that it might be the best case scenario versus who knows what else it could be,
Yeah, exactly.
So hopefully everything turns out okay and you'll be all right. So
sure.
Thanks again for being with us.
Yeah, thank you.
And Corey, when are you coming out with that patchouli scented beard oil? I gotta get some.
If you want some, I can make you some whenever you want it.
Oh man. So Pete, you have anything else you want to mention real quick before we wrap up?
Just coming up again, October 7th is the Range at 355 Grunt Style 2-gun run. Tori Nanaka is going to be there. Shane Coley will be there. A cast of thousands. Johnny Van's Barbecue. All our friends from Grunt Style. I'm guessing my friend Will is going to be there with some knives showing his wares.
Cool.
And Brian Krieger from Four Roses will be hosting again. So
awesome.
Looking forward to a good day. Hopefully, I believe we'll have a good creative match. The prize table is going to be ridiculous again.
Ask you. And some guns to be given away or what?
Oh, there's a bunch of guns going to be given away that day. And even
or
if
one. I guess where would put it?
What's that?
Or one, I guess I should say, right?
There's going to be, boy, I don't want to talk out of school. I believe one of the major manufacturers is, I thought the last number I heard was donating 7 guns. That's just one.
Nice.
I received a couple of rifles from CMMG the other day that Grunt Style set up. I talked to Rock River today. They're going to participate again. I don't know at what level. Hyperfire's donating a bunch of triggers again. At the last match, 3 hex mags, you probably finished in 40th place and you got 3 hex mags.
Wow.
Which is a great prize, 3 hex mags.
Yeah.
So it was.
I don't know what the match fees cost exactly, but if you figure
the match fee's $100. You get chow, a Grunt Style Range at 355 2-gun run T-shirt, and all the proceeds go to Mission 22. which is a great veterans organization. So you're supporting a good organization. If you just want to come and grab some barbecue and have a taste of Four Roses, watch the match, it's a $25 ticket. Like I said, Tori Nanaka and Shane Coley are going to be there. Michelle Viscuzzi and Shane Coley were there at our spring match, and were, you know, hanging with the shooters, and it was a good day. That's
really awesome. That's a high value for having you know, a match at indoor range, a local type match. That's a high value. I mean, $100, you know, that's reasonable for a meal, and you're getting a really good chance at winning a rifle or a pistol or whatever it is you guys, you know, guns basically, magazines, whatever, you know.
Yeah, and then finally, Tactical Edge is going to donate a bunch of rifle parts, so you'd be able to build your own rifle pretty much with what they are going to donate. We carry all their parts, so that's going to be cool as well. And this time the change is it's a pro-am. So you're not competing against, you know, the Jay Carrillos and some of the outstanding shooters that we have coming up. You know, you're competing against your peers.
That's awesome. And we had, by the way, check Tactical Edge Arms on last week. They're doing a AR-15 subscription deal where you can basically, I call it AR-15 in a box. They call it, I think, a builder's kit or something like that, where you basically buy an AR-15 where in sections and you assemble it yourself. So you start out with like getting the upper and lower receiver, I guess, and some of the tools with the first, you know, installment where you pay X amount of dollars for that, and then, you know, the next one you get more of the parts, and then they have videos they're putting together to kind of show how to assemble it and everything. So you're actually building your own rifle, and you're not putting that huge lump sum of money up front, and you're getting to do it over time and have that experience.
And no better way to learn the ins and outs of an AR-15 than to put it together yourself. And we're also going to do a build it class with Bobby and the crew from Tactical Edge. We'll probably be doing one with Rock River, and we'll probably be doing one with Civilian Force Arms.
Awesome. That's really cool.
Then we're going to do build it knife classes.
There you go. Get Will out there.
Corey, I'm sorry.
I think that one we might need a few Band-Aids for.
Yep. Some stitches.
I think that this build an AR subscription monthly box, everything that they're talking about doing, whether it's monthly, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, whatever, what Bobby and Will and Tactical Edge are doing, this is going to revolutionize the industry right here, because they're, as far as I know, they're the first person I've seen that's doing this.
I think it's really cool.
Right.
And
I mean, people could
pick up on that. It's going to be through the roof.
Right. Because you can go out and do it on your own and look and pick out pieces, but how many people who are just kind of getting into it as far as building an AR or wanting to build a rifle, you know, it can make your head spin. I mean, look at, you know, I got 50 rifle cases there.
You would not believe the number of guns I've had come to classes, okay, and that the castle nut spins off and the stock starts rotating while the student is there, because they never actually torque the castle nut down. You would be amazed at the number of things that I've seen where they have the
John. That's what Loctite's for.
Yeah, you'd be amazed at things that I have seen over the years where they have the front detent spring as the spring holding the actual selector detent. They're wondering why the selector doesn't click; it just spins. I mean, it's amazing. So having that knowledge base, even for the first one, to know which springs are which, it's critical path. It's just amazing. Right.
And that's what's nice, that they're putting together these videos to go with it. The people can go on YouTube and watch each step kind of as you do it. And they have, and the whole thing is like, you know, you're buying their rifle. It's all their components they're putting into that particular rifle that they put out there. And now they're just taking it, deconstructing it in a sense, and putting it in sections into boxes. And you know, each it's like part one of this rifle build. You know, they got videos to go along.
That's awesome.
But yeah, like I was going to say, if you're just starting out into the world of building an AR, you know, like I said, you got all these different options. I got 50 rifle cases here, you know, for the 50 states AR-15. There's products for these things all across the U.S. I mean, it's crazy. So your head will spin trying to figure out which handguard to get, what barrel should I run, this and that. They kind of pick that out for you. You get to look at the rifle. Hey, it's a nice looking rifle. Hey, I'm gonna, you know, it's got this and this and this. Okay, cool. I like it. But it gives you an option to make it your own. You're actually building it yourself. I also like that they offer their warranty on it. So it still has the fact, I say factory, it still has their company's warranty on the components and everything, regardless of whether you built it or they built it.
You know what
they're does that.
Sorry, Rick, I was just going to say our experience with those guys are they're a couple of honest young dudes, and we take credit for them from Illinois, even though they're transplanted down to Clarksville.
Right. Yeah. I mean, well, Bobby is from Illinois, I believe, too. So
yeah, exactly. Will is as well.
Oh, okay, cool. So anyway, I know we kind of went a little bit past time, but I think Will, if you had anything you want to throw out last minute here, we'll wrap up.
That's it. Just watch the website, vultureequipmentworks.com. Those laser stippling patterns will be up in the next month or two.
We'll be talking soon about that too.
Yeah. And then Polymer 80s will be up there by the end of the month, and be looking for our two Glock clones. They're going to be right around that $1,600 to $2,000. They're high end comp guns, and trimmed out with the best of each part. So the best tungsten firing pin comes from this guy. The best slide comes from this guy. The best barrel comes from this guy. So it's just kind of like a remember how they built the local motors. What was it called, the prize fighter or rally fighter?
No,
they did like what do you call that? Open source, where everybody got to vote on like the best handle for the door handle, the best steering wheel, OEM steering wheel on any car, and that's how they built this like off-road rally car. Was all these different parts were the best that everybody thought that, hey, Ford had the best seat in the truck. The best dashboard came out of a Honda Accord, and they just kept plugging all these different things in there. And if you look at all of the best motocross, motorsports, everything like that, even in the marine industry, it's all a hodgepodge of parts and pieces, and they come up with ultimately a really cool machine.
Awesome. So yeah, I look forward to seeing that, and we'll keep our eyes open on vultureequipmentworks.com. And everybody out there, thanks again for watching. And again, if you're not watching live, thanks for watching in the future, I guess. And leave the comments below the video, and we'll always, take a look at those and from time to time respond to them and whatnot. And you guys got any thoughts about what we should do on our next show? Let us know there too in the comments below the video. We're always looking for suggestions, and like I said, this is a thing that we do for everybody that's out there to learn stuff and just to take it all in and kind of share different experiences in the firearms world and stuff. So anyway, till next time, as always, have fun shooting.